we got to talk about the psychosis of these LGBT of these homosexual people. Now, before I get started on this short video, I want to make it very clear that I don't believe that people who are homosexuals are psychotic in any way. I don't believe that because you're a homosexual, you're psychotic. I don't believe that. I believe you homosexual, you that's just what you are. You're homosexual. Um, but you have a large number of homosexuals who are psychotic, and because everyone the homosexual community wants to bolster their numbers to give them more power, they've just included all these different people, these different groups, who claim to be attached to this homosexual uh, thing that is known as LGBTQ uh, plus sign or something like that. I don't know. So they've all lumped themselves together. So unfortunately, when I use the term, when I talk about homosexuals and a psychosis, unfortunately, our regular sane homosexual brothers and sisters, they're lumped in because that's what they chose to do. They chose to lump themselves in with a good portion of our homosexual family members who happen to be psychotic and happen to have mental problems. So when I say this, I don't want homosexuals to think that I think because you're a homosexual that you have a mental issue. I don't think that. I don't believe that. In all seriousness, I think that you're a homosexual. You just somebody that's just who you are. You just whatever. I like women that have. I like women with big titties and big asses. That's what I'm attracted to. That doesn't make me psychotic. Just like it doesn't make a man who's attracted to another man, or a woman who's attracted to another woman, doesn't make them psychotic. That's how I genuinely feel. But once again, you have a large number of our homosexual brothers and sisters who are psychotic, and because the other homosexuals, the non-psychotic homosexuals, this is starting to get confusing, because the non-psychotic homosexuals want to bolster their numbers to help them get certain rights and privileges, they've lumped themselves in with the psychotic ones. So when I talk about the homosexuals, the LGBTQ plus sign people, you know, they're going to get lumped in because that's what they chose to do. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Now, with that being said, I got a problem. This new uh, mass shooting that happened in, what was it, Colorado, was done by a guy named Aldrich. Anderson Aldrich, I think his name was Nicholas Brinks or something at one point. Whatever. This guy Anderson Aldrich went into a homosexual club, started shooting people. Luckily, he didn't get to shoot more people because they tackled his dumb ass and beat the shit out of him. This fat loser. So luckily, he didn't get to kill more people. He killed one, unfortunately, but luckily, more people didn't die because I mean, you went into a club full of men. Full of men ready to fuck, man. Ready, had all this energy, and you went in there with a gun. Well, you're gonna get your ass kicked. So, I bring this guy up because his attorneys have come out and said, well, Mr. Aldrich, he identifies as non-binary, and he uses the pronouns they and them.
Anderson Lee Aldrich, just 22 years old, is set to appear in court virtually. And the defense just a short time ago filing a new motion tonight with a footnote saying Aldrich is non-binary and goes by them, they pronouns.
All that means is he's homosexual. It's all these different subgroups of homosexuals. He's a homosexual. That's what it meant. So he basically came out and said, my client is a homosexual and he wants to be referred to as they, them. And you have all these homosexuals now coming out saying he's lying. Wait a minute. Time out, pause everything. Time out. Now, initially, I thought that if you were a homosexual and you said you were homosexual, you're supposed to automatically believe them.
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing them.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
Because of my line of questioning? So we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist
I'm
is
denying that
dangerous.
trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So you are
pregnant.
denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you?
Absolutely.
Or are they also treated like this, where
No,
they're
they're
told
allowed
that they're
to question.
opening up people to
Oh,
violence?
we have a good
by
time in my
questioning?
class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot.
So if a man comes out and says, I'm a man, but I'm really a woman, you're supposed to just automatically believe him. If a woman comes out and says, I have a vagina, a clitoris, a uterus, and ovaries, but I'm really a man, well, that you got to take what she says at face value. You have to believe her automatically. And to not believe her or to say otherwise means that you're a bigot and that you are homophobic. So it's a bad thing to tell someone who says they're one thing that they're not that thing, even though you can see that they clearly aren't that thing. But now all of a sudden, when it suits the homosexual community, or when they run into a situation that they think makes them look bad as a group, they're doing the same thing they said people aren't allowed to do.
The public defenders say, quote, Anderson Aldrich is non-binary. They use they, them pronouns, and for the purposes of all formal filings will be addressed as Mix Aldrich. So in other words, not Mr. or Ms. Joining me now, CNN political commentator Errol Lewis, also back with me, Al Franken and Joe Walsh. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, that's not anything that we had heard from his background. You know, people have been looking into his background, and I don't know if anybody here, are you guys lawyers? I mean, you know, I don't know if, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, that's what he's now saying.
It sounds like they're trying to prepare a defense against a hate crimes charge. That's the least of his problems, legally speaking, but it looks like they're trying to build some kind of sympathy or at least confusion on the question of whether or not this was purely motivated by hate.
I mean, that is what it sounds like. We'll wait to see.
So this Anderson Aldrich kid comes out and says, yeah, I'm part of the homosexual community. And they're like, no, you're not. No, you're not, because we say you're not. So what does that mean? Does that mean that if you're homosexual, you have the magical power to just determine what reality is for everybody? If you're a homosexual, you can just say shit and that's reality. Is that what that means? That's fucking psychotic.
Professor Peterson, let's begin with you. Why are you against the use of alternate pronouns?
I'm against the use of legislation to determine what words that myself and other people are required to utter.
But would you use alternate pronouns if a student asked you to?
I think I've made my position on that clear already.
Well, perhaps not to our audience at home who are just being introduced to this. Would you use alternate pronouns? And why not? We have a graphic to show our audience at home just some of the pronouns being used or asked to be used as alternates. Among them you see here Z or Zim, Z or here, Z or Zir, also hey, or A rather, and per. So just some of the alternate pronouns there. Professor Pete, when you hear Professor Peterson saying that this is oppressive, how do you respond to that?
The Peterson drama has done real harm to real people on campus. He's made it harder to be transgender or non-binary. I know this from personal experience. I'm non-binary and transgender, and I know how it's felt to be on the U of T campus for the last month. And I also know from private communications with other affected people.
When Ellen Page came out and she said, I'm a man, you're not allowed to tell her, no, you're a woman, you're not a man. You have the money to get this life-threatening surgery, whatever, do what you're going to do, you're an adult, but you are not a man, and we're not going to address you as a man. the homosexual community said, hey, you can't do that. She is whatever she says she is. But she's not. I can prove that you can't prove it. If she says it, that's reality. Oh. Bruce Jenner comes out and he says, I have a dick and balls. I produce semen. I'm actually able to fuck women and impregnate them and create children. But I'm not a man. I am a woman. People are like, no, clearly you're a man. You may think that you are a woman or say that you're a woman, and we can deal with that if you have a mental problem and you think you're something you're not, but you're not a woman. You're a man. Homosexual community was like, hey, whoa, buddy, you can't do that. Whatever he says he is, he's that. Just because he spoke the words, that makes it reality. Like homosexuals are fucking wizards or some shit, or genies. I say the words and I'm uttering a spell. And when I say these words, I can control reality. So if I walk into a bank and I say, look, I want to get a house loan for this $3 million house, and they say, well, all right, let's look at your finances. Oh, sir, you only make $30,000 a year. You don't have enough money. If I go to the bank loan officer and I say, I only make $30,000, but I'm wealthy. I'm rich. The loan officer's not just going to say, you got it, sir. You said you're rich. That means you're rich. Here's the loan. If I go into court and I'm accused of a crime and I'm convicted and they have evidence and they say you're guilty, I can't go to the judge and say, Your Honor, you are wrong. I am not guilty. I'm innocent. The judge isn't going to say, oh, okay, you're free to go. It doesn't work in any other instance unless it's involving homosexuals. If I'm a homosexual and I say, look, I'm supposed to be, I have a penis, but the penis was put there by mistake. So I'm a woman, call me a woman and treat me like a woman. The rest of society and homosexuals are saying, yeah, you got to listen to him. Whatever he says he is, just do whatever he says. And then if I come back and say, well, he's obviously wrong. Maybe he's suffering from a mental issue because he's saying something that's insane. Maybe we should talk with him and try to deal with this mental issue, try to help him in some way to get over this psychosis. Then I'm labeled as a bad person. I'm a bad person. I'm homophobic. I could get fired from my job. I could lose access to the ability to make money and provide for myself. Ostracized by society. All these negative things just for saying that. Whatever the person says they are, that's what they are. Right? But now this shooter comes out and says, yeah, I'm homosexual. Whoa, no, you're not. But I'm following the rules. The rules are you say whatever you are and people have to believe you. No, we say you're not now because we don't want you to be. So you know what? We're gonna change the rules. We're gonna change the rules. Real quick. Rule change. You can't say that what you're not allowed to say that you are something and the rest of us believe it. Okay, and then. And then once we've established that, we're gonna switch the rules back. So for right now, whatever you say you are, you're not it unless we say you are. We have to give you permission. This shit is so hilarious to me. If homosexuals are saying that whatever sexuality or I don't even fucking know. This shit is so retarded and psychotic. It's so retarded and psychotic that I don't really even know how to phrase it. If you identify your sexuality in a certain way, then that automatically changes the reality to what you said. No matter what anybody else sees, no matter what science says, no matter what history says, none of that is important. If it's about your sexuality, whatever you say goes. Whatever you say without question, without fail. And to say otherwise means you're a bad person and means you're homophobic. But in this instance, when this Anderson Aldrich guy's doing the same thing, all of a sudden, no, now the rule doesn't apply. No, we don't want you to be part of our group. So because you said it, it doesn't mean that it's real. It's not reality. Do you understand how stupid and sick and psychotic that is? And demonic and wrong? Because what that means is homosexuals know subconsciously that all that stuff about whatever I say I am, that's what I am, that's all bullshit, and they know that. But because they want to bolster their numbers and give more power to their group, they're going to accept all these different people and who just, for whatever reason, if I'm a man and I decide, look, I'm a loser and I can't compete at sports with other men, so I'm going to lie and say that I'm actually a woman, automatically believe him and discount all of the women who he's competing against and welcome him into the LGBTQ plus sign group. We bolstered our numbers. But now, so I call it sick and demonic and wrong because now this shows me that homosexuals know that just because you say you're something, that doesn't mean that you actually are. They know that, but they lie and pretend otherwise because they want to bolster their numbers, and that's the only reason. And by doing that, they are actually hurting people who are suffering from these psychosis. So, a child that says, "Oh, I've watched a lot of TV, or I've spoken with a lot of people, or heard, or grew up around a lot of people who talk about this transvestite, whatever tranny stuff. So I've decided I want to cut off my genitals." Make this permanent decision, and I'm underage, and they're saying, yeah, go ahead and do it. Now, if this kid grows up and realizes, man, all that stuff I was saying as a kid was foolish, I was just a fucking kid, well, it's too late. Your penis is cut off now. You've cut off your penis. Because the adults who were just trying to bolster their numbers and gain more power for themselves within this homosexual community, they egged you on. They didn't even consider the fact that maybe you're confused. Maybe you have mental problems. Mental problems exist. It's like because I'm homosexual, I automatically am immune from mental issues. I don't get that. But now all of a sudden this mass shooter who clearly has mental problems comes out and says, yeah, I'm a homosexual. No, because it hurts us, now you're not. What kind of sick fucking bullshit is that? And what kind of sick, demonic, psychotic people are we fucking dealing with? Obviously, if you just say you're something, that doesn't make it true. That doesn't make it reality. So I'm tired of hearing that shit. And now, because homosexuals have come out and they've jumped on the bandwagon of the rest of us sane people and said, well, Mr. Aldrich, just because you say you're something, that doesn't make it true. Well, now there's going to be a lot more pushback against these tranny people who just come out and say, yeah, I said I'm a woman today, that makes me a woman. Or, yeah, I said I'm a man today, so that makes me a man. Either they're lying as well, or they're psychotic. It's one of the two. If you're saying that it is possible for someone to lie about these things, well, then that means that people that come out as trannies, that they're lying or they have mental problems. Because if I'm dragging around a cock and balls and I say that I'm supposed to have a vagina, well, either I'm lying or something's wrong with my fucking brain. And homosexuals now backed yourselves into a corner because now you're agreeing with what I just said. Because you're saying, well, this guy has mental problems, so he's lying. He's either lying or he has mental problems, right? It can't just apply to him. It has to apply to others as well. Just because you're a homosexual, it doesn't mean that you can dictate reality when it suits your needs. So I got to see what people say about this and this white LGBT on LGBT crime that happened. I want to see what people say, because I knew that that's what was going to happen. I was just waiting to hear it, and I go on the Twitters, and sure enough, people are saying, he's not non-binary, he's lying, he's not homosexual, he's part of the homosexual community, he's a liar, or he's confused. So I guess that's all I gotta say. I don't really know how to end the video. I believe that if you are a trans person, that you are either lying because it helps you in some way, and I don't know, in many different ways it can help you, or, and this is more than likely the issue with most people that say that they're trans, you have a mental problem. And as a society, we need to sit down with these people and sit down and figure out a solution to help these people come to terms with the fact that, unfortunately, you can't be something that you're not just because you want to. You're a man and you want to be a woman. Well, let's find out why you want to be a woman, and let's try to work to make life as accessible as possible to you, while also acknowledging reality and making sure that you're walking around as a sane citizen who is acknowledging the same reality that the rest of us experience. If you're a homosexual man and you want to be a woman because you think that more men will like you for whatever sick reason, well, let's sit down and talk to you about it. You don't have to get life-threatening surgery and pay all this money to go through this stuff just to have the type of life you want. Homosexuality is a normal thing in our society. It's legal now for people to get married if they're homosexual. You have all these rights and benefits. All of these things that work in your favor. You don't have to get this surgery and pretend to be a woman. You can just be a man and live within this community of homosexuals, and you'll have a good life. Let's work to help these people get over this psychosis, not just egg it on and play these fucking games and subject our homosexual brothers and sisters to this trick, this game where they're spending money and time to talk to people and to get surgery and to take pills and different hormones, all this crap that they're having to do, because no one is sitting down and telling them, this, what you're thinking is wrong, it's not right. Let's discuss it and come up with a way to make life more comfortable for you. But what you're thinking now is wrong. You have a penis. You're not a woman. You have ovaries. You're not a man. Don't go out there and have your chest cut open, have fat removed, and have it sewn back closed. That's disturbing. That's sick. Don't go to a hospital and let them cut off your genitals, your balls, and then fold them in to make this makeshift vagina. That is sick and it's wrong. Let's help you. That's what we need to be doing, and not playing this fucking game where, oh yeah, well, we want to boost our numbers, so we're going to just let any person come in here, whether they're psychotic or not. As long as they say they're part of the homosexual community, who cares what else they say? We're just going to support them 100% because they help boost our numbers, so that when we want certain bills and certain rights, we have this huge contingent of people that can help us get access to bills and rights. We got to switch that up. I think I'm going to end it here, because if I keep talking, I'm just going to keep rambling. Let's hear what people have to say about this white LGBT on LGBT crime, and the fact that homosexuals are now doubling back or going back on what they said when they tell us that if whatever you say you are, that's what reality is. Fuck off.